Together we learn, together we grow, together we heal, together we flow. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Hey, hey. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Hey, hey. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Hey, hey. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool,
Good evening, everybody. My name is Todd Scholl. I serve as the lead learner for the SCEA Center for Educator Wellness and Learning. That center we call CEWL for short. You can find out about everything we do at this website, cool.us, and welcome you to go there and check out all the resources that we have. I want to jump right into tonight's topic, and we are going to be talking about how to start a meditation practice. This is one of my favorite topics to discuss. Anything that has to do with mindfulness, meditation, consciousness, and neuroscience, I love talking about. As we start a new year in 2025, and there's a lot of things going on in the world that are challenging, and I don't want to list them all because you're already aware of them. But as we go through this year and as we meet these challenges, I don't prescribe to anybody how much they should fight or how they should fight or whether you should be angry or anxious or feel however you're going to feel. But one of the things that I know for me personally, working in this advocacy space, is that I have to also take care of myself. And I think educators, a lot of times, we are so focused on helping other people and fixing problems, and we neglect the work that we need to do on ourselves. And one of my favorite authors, Dr. Sean Ginwright, in the book The Four Pivots, talks about how we're building movements with wounded warriors and the importance for us to do the healing work that we need to do. I think a lot of times when we see problems in the world, we go onto social media or we watch the news and we see these problems in the world. I think those of us who are empathetic and have compassion want to go out and fix and help. And I think that's a really great inclination. And a lot of my greatest heroes, like Mr. Rogers and Martin Luther King and Gandhi, they all were active and did try to help the world. But I think all three of them also understood that they had to address what's going on inside them. That in order to show up for the world in the way that the world needs, that they needed to be healed inside and that they needed to address the things that are going on inside them. And so that's what tonight's all about. And that's what really starting a meditation practice is about for me, is addressing what's going on inside of me so that when I go out into the world and I try to work with other people to make it a better world, that I'm not doing it from a place of woundedness, that I'm doing it from a more healed place. And of course, I don't know if I'll ever be fully healed. I don't know if I'll ever not have some kind of wound, but it's incumbent upon me to examine that and look at it and try to address my own healing and not make it the responsibility of the rest of the world to align itself perfectly so that I can finally feel at peace and feel joy. And so that's really what tonight's about, is about starting a meditation practice. So those of you who may be curious about what meditation is, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to engage in a practice together. And if at any point you have questions, you can always put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer those questions, and I'll follow that. You can also make comments at any time as well. So let's first of all talk about what meditation is. So there's a lot of different definitions, and the first thing we need to do is acknowledge that meditation practices go back thousands of years. Folks in India, in rishis, and in Southeast Asia, we had Buddhists, and you've had Christian meditation. You've had a lot of different spiritual and religious traditions have used meditation as part of their spiritual practice. And it's really important as I talk tonight, I'm talking to public school educators, and you hear the word meditation, we're not going to be talking about anything metaphysical. There's not going to be any spiritual component to this. I'm not going to be asking you to take anything based on faith. What we're going to do is take a look at this practice from a secular standpoint. Secular meaning a non-religious, not asking you to believe in anything standpoint. And a lot of folks have been able to do that, take the benefits of the practice without the spiritual component. But if you want to use it for your spiritual path, feel free to do that too. But tonight we're just talking about it from a more scientific, secular standpoint. So when I talk about meditation, first of all, I want to give credit to it. It wasn't something that was invented in the West. It wasn't something that was invented recently. It's been around for thousands of years, and we need to go and give credit to the people who, over centuries, developed these practices. That said, meditation essentially is when you focus your mind on something. So think about what you're paying attention to right now. So maybe some of you are paying attention to my voice. Maybe some of you have something going on in your house. You're paying attention to that. Maybe you have something else on your screen. What are you paying attention to? So we have this awareness, and awareness, we can point our awareness to anywhere, anything. We can point it to things we see, music we listen to, things we smell, when we're eating, what we're tasting. When we're outside and it's really cold, we may be aware of that. So it's where are you pointing your attention? Meditation is about um, focusing your attention on a singular thing, and that could be your breath. It could be some words that you repeat over and over again. It could be the steps that you're taking when you're walking. It's essentially focusing that your attention on that. And why would we do that? Why would we meditate? Why would we focus on one thing? Well, for me, the benefit is this. So my mind's default state is when I'm just sitting around and I'm not being intentional with where I'm pointing my awareness or what I'm thinking about, my mind tends to gravitate towards problems. In modern psychology, Dr. Rick and many others call this negativity bias. So we have this built-in negativity bias that most human beings have. We think about things that went wrong, and we think about things that could go wrong. So we tend to do a lot of time traveling in our minds back to problems that occurred in the past or problems that can occur in the future. Why do we do this? Well, from an evolutionary standpoint, it's very advantageous for survival because if you remember mistakes that either you made or that other people made that could have led to death or injury, or if you think about things in the future and imagine, hey, if I do that thing, I might die or I might be injured, that's a great thing for survival because you're paying attention to mistakes from the past and things that went wrong and things that could go wrong in the future, and that can be useful. The problem is that when you are doing that all day long without intention, you can spend so much of your time up here in your head thinking about these problems, trying to problem solve, and it ends up producing a lot of anxiety and anger and frustration and sadness and a lot of those negative emotions. And uh, it's not, the thoughts aren't bad and the emotions aren't bad, but it's this sort of unchecked autopilot, just not using our awareness with any intention that can wind up making us lead these lives of quiet desperation, as Thoreau said. So we end up spending a lot of our mental energy focused on things that are negative. So, how does meditation address this? Well, meditation does is it's training your mind to come out of that sort of default state. They call it the default mode network, that default program that's sort of operating in most of humanity, where we're doing this time traveling and just focusing on something that's repetitive in the present moment. So for me tonight, we're going to do a practice where it's the breath. So the breath is always occurring, whether it's the inhale or the pause or the exhale or the pause at the bottom of the breath. The breath is always occurring now, right? And it's repetitive and it keeps going back and forth, right? So if I can train my awareness to pay attention to that, that's meditation, right? That's meditation. And meditation can cultivate a lot of things. One of the things that can cultivate is mindfulness. A lot of people conflate meditation and mindfulness. Those are two things. Meditation is a way to cultivate mindfulness, which is the capacity to pay attention to the present moment, for your awareness to be where your feet are and then also to do that without judgment. And what that helps us do is, no matter what the moment is bringing us, to address that and be in that moment with more equanimity. And equanimity means that it's not that you're being passive, it just means that you're not being tossed around so much by every single thing that happens. I mean, you jump on social media and you're going to get pissed off within like 2 minutes, right? And what we don't want to just constantly have our minds being tossed around like that and being constantly agitated. That's not good for our state of mind. So, and it's also not good for our state of mind to always be doing that rumination, that sort of like looping over a problem over and over again, or looping over a worry over and over again, to the point where you can't sleep or you're just constantly on edge about it, right? So so the meditation trains the mind to come back, to come out of that, those some of those thought loops, and to come back to the present moment and just sort of let some of that time travel go. And the practice over time can help lead to a quieter, calmer, more peaceful state of mind. It doesn't mean that when you practice, especially the first few times, when you practice, that you're going to feel peaceful or calm. You might, when you practice, become more agitated or angry or sad. We're not sure what's going to come up. The myth is that when people meditate, they go om, and then they're just quieting their mind and all their thoughts evaporate. And that's awesome if that's you. But for the vast majority of us, when we meditate and we start practicing, we're trying to focus on our breath, or maybe on a mantra, or on your steps or whatever, or maybe a candle that's lit in front of you. You try to focus on that, and the mind starts flooding you with all kinds of thoughts, because that's what the mind does. The mind generates thought, and typically, like when we focus on our breath, like the brain says, "Hey, look, the autonomic nervous system's got that. You don't have to pay attention to your breath. We'll breathe for you. Like, you won't even have to pay attention to it. We'll breathe for you." And then that way it frees you up to help us survive by remembering mistakes and thinking about potential future calamities, right? So it's like a program that's like running on your phone. Think of it, this operating system that's running on your phone. We have this human operating system, and what we're doing through meditation is we're trying to give that operating system an update, a major update. And it doesn't mean we're going to stop thinking. It doesn't mean we're going to stop caring about the world. It doesn't mean we're going to become passive and pushovers. What it means is that we're going to start being able to intentionally direct that awareness, instead of the mind pulling us around and us constantly being in this state of agitation over every single thing that doesn't go the way we want it to in the world, over constantly hoping that the present moment would be different than it is, that the past would be different than it was, that our future, we wouldn't have to worry about it. Like, can we come back to the present moment and be here without, and drop the judgment around it, and just allow ourselves to be, at least for some time during the day? So in order to do that, in order to be more mindful, we have to train our brains. The brain is, again, naturally, it's going to think, my job is to solve problems for you and to think about the things that can go wrong. And what we're trying to do through meditation is to delete some of that programming. We're not going to delete it completely. If you walk in the woods and you see a bear, you don't want to go, "Oh, that's no problem. Good, great." It's a beautiful bear. You want to be able to still react to threats. But what we don't want to do is get up every morning, get on social media, start thumbing through, seeing people do things that are so unwise, and that piss us off, and then going to work and having things piss us off there, and then having arguments with our friends or our family members, or someone online or whatever, and then we're going to bed and we're still in this agitated state. Like, we don't want to do that on repeat, or at least I don't think you do. I don't want to do that on repeat. So meditation, what it helps me do is, I still care about all of these issues, but it gives me a little bit of clarity about, like, discernment around which issues are really the most important that I need to voice, and when I voice my concern over that stuff, am I voicing it from a place of sort of being unconscious, just like these patterns that come up in these habits that are in me to just get pissed off and then just to shout out something? Or is it coming from a place of like, I really reflected on this, I really thought about this particular issue, and from my heart and from a compassionate place, here's how I want to address this. And sometimes that means when you address it, you're really truthful and you're really forceful, and you may ruffle some feathers. And sometimes it means being silent and just having the discernment to know, hey, I'm not going to say anything about this, that this isn't something that's important for me to talk about right now. And that is really difficult. But meditation can help you with that discernment. So, so that's really why, like, to me, meditation ultimately, um, how it's benefited me is it's helped given me more discernment. I'm still working on it. It's helped me feel more joy, more peace, but it doesn't always work. And I still get agitated and I still get anxious and I still get sad and frustrated. And I still, there's times I catch myself, unconsciously communicating things and then have to go back and apologize. And that happens a lot. And then I have to give myself grace, continue to practice, and go back and try to see if tomorrow I can do better. But a lot of this is about dropping the judgment of ourselves and just being with whatever comes up. And so when we practice tonight, this is an invitation for you to practice. Whatever comes up for you, it's okay. If you find this challenging, that's okay. If you find yourself getting angry, or sad, or anxious, whatever, that's okay, and it's normal. If you find it like you just have all these thoughts and you can't slow them down, that's normal. That's what happens. So a lot of people who teach meditation talk about this as really what we're doing is stopping and just investigating the mind and observing how our mind works. So we're trying to take a step back and just be like, huh, here's how my mind works. This is what my mind is looping on, or this is what my mind, when I'm trying to be quiet and focus on something, this is what my mind is doing. And having curiosity around it and sort of interest in, huh, that's how my mind works. Instead of going, oh, I'm supposed to feel zenned out and chill, and I'm not feeling zenned out and chill. I hate this. I don't like this. This meditation is supposed to make me feel calm. That's not like, if you're doing that, what you're doing is just adding layers of thought to the process, and that's just making it more difficult for you. It's kind of like if we're trying to go to sleep and you're like, I'm going to make myself go to sleep. I'm going to say, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to force myself to sleep. The harder you try to sleep, sometimes the harder it is to get to sleep, right? So this kind of effort that we put into this practice, it's not a typical type of striving thing. Like, I just went to the gym and I worked out and I'm paying attention and I'm like, I'm going to get all these reps in and I'm going to do all this work. But when I come to meditation, I can't sit there and go, tonight, I'm going to count 12 breaths in a row and I'm not going to be interrupted by the thought like that. It's counterintuitive, but you can't approach meditation that way. It's got to be a lot lighter approach. Just come to it, and whatever comes up, and just notice it. So we're going to do the practice together. I want to invite you to do this. And I also want to say, before we start the practice, if at any point you're uncomfortable, please stop. And also, if you are currently experiencing any mental health issues or seeing a mental health professional, before you dive deeply into a practice, you may want to talk with them about this to see if that's right for you. But again, if what we do tonight at any point is just not feeling right for you, please stop. So the first thing we're gonna do is find a place to sit, and we're gonna sit up straight. And we don't want to be like rigid, but we do want to sit up straight and align the spine. And the reason for this is I'm gonna invite you to close your eyes, and we're gonna start to breathe slowly. And a lot of us may be tired, and if you're slunched over, you're maybe more likely to get tired and sleepy. And the goal here is not to sleep. If you fall asleep, great, fine, no problem. But if you don't want to fall asleep, try to sit up straight. And it also helps us with our breathing too, because we're gonna focus on our breathing, and we want the trachea and all that to be aligned. We don't want it to be like hunched over like that. So we're sitting up straight, and then just put your feet flat on the ground. You can lie down and do this if you want to, but I recommend sitting up comfortably. And then shoulders back, and then I invite you to close your eyes. If closing your eyes feels um, not right for you, then you can just gaze at a spot in front of you. And I want you to just take a few deep breaths in, and we're going to set an intention here to focus on our breath in a very effortless and a very gentle way. Just like, just be curious about the sensation of your breath. So take some breaths in, feel the air go in and feel the air go out. Just nice, deep, intentional breaths. Notice how it feels. And then just take notice of where you feel that breath the most. So for me, I feel the breath mostly in my nose, but some people feel it more. They notice their chest rising and falling or their belly rising and falling. Maybe you feel it in the back of your throat. Where do you notice your breath? Where do you notice the sensation of it? And maybe when you exhale, it's in a different spot than when you inhale. But let's take a moment to just appreciate the breath. We take it for granted. We breathe all day. We don't think about it, but just nice deep breaths and really appreciate breath. And we slow down the breath. One of the things we can do when we slow down to take nice, deep, controlled breaths is we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest, and that can help us settle down a little bit. But we're not chasing a feeling, we're not chasing a certain state of mind. We're just going into this like a scientific observer, just noticing our mind and noticing what happens when we do this practice. So continue to pay attention to your breath. And this is the meditative part is we're meditating on our breath. The meditation, we're focusing on the breath. And we're trying to keep our attention on the breath, which is not the easiest thing in the world. It's simple to talk about, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. See if you can do it. See if you can pay attention to your breath. Again, not pushing yourself. And then what's going to happen here is I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes. And I want you to continue paying attention to your breath the best that you can, not striving, not pushing. And thoughts are going to come up, and that's normal. That's okay. Whatever thoughts come up, just notice them. And I want you to notice in your mind is that a thought from your past, like a thing that happened earlier today? Is it a thought about the future, like what you're doing tonight or tomorrow or later this week? Or is it something else? Is it a judgmental thought like this is weird or I don't like this or this isn't working? Notice whatever thought comes up, give it a little label like a past, future, or other, or judgmental. And then just return to the breath. Just keep your focus on the breath. And so you're going to keep repeating that. So every time you notice that you're not paying attention to your breath, you just smile. Huh. Be curious. Isn't that interesting? I was supposed to pay attention to my breath, and I had a thought about the past thing or this future thing or this other thing. And then you just smile and just notice that, that's really interesting. And then come back to your breath. So I'll be quiet for a few minutes and let you just play with that. Just take a playful attitude around this. Just have fun with this. keep noticing the breath. Notice every inhale, every exhale. A thought comes up, don't push it away. A thought is not the enemy, it's not a problem. It's just something for you to observe. It's just part of what comes up. Make a little note of it, past, future, judgmental, other, whatever. Just notice it and go back to that breath. Just focus on it. See if you can be curious and interested in just your breath. Where's your mind right now? What are you paying attention to? If it's not your breath, it's okay. Just smile about it, laugh a little bit, and come back to the sensation. Wherever you feel your breath the most, just be with that breath. Follow it like a wave, just coming in, going out. If it helps, you can count your breaths, or you can label, you can say, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Put your hand on your chest or your belly, just notice it rise and fall. Just allowing ourselves to be. We're not trying to do anything. We're not trying to achieve anything. We're not trying to be calm. Just taking a moment out of our day to be with whatever is, whatever's coming up. See if we can direct our attention and train ourselves to focus that attention. We're going to shift into a little bit different practice now. I want you to focus now not on your breath, but on the top of your head. And bring your attention down into your forehead and your eyebrows and see if you notice any tension there. And I want you to really slow down your breath and breathe. Really fill your lungs. Breathe slowly. And just notice where there's any tension in your forehead or your eyebrows and see if you can relax that. And then down into your cheeks and your jaw. See if you notice any tension there. You can wiggle your jaw and then just release. Continuing to breathe deeply. If thoughts come up, just come back to the body parts that I'm guiding you to. Bring your awareness down into your neck and feel free to move your head like left and right, up and down. Just loosen up that neck. Let go of any tension there. And breathing deeply down into our shoulders and just carry a lot of stress and tension in our shoulders. Just maybe roll your shoulders back or forward, whatever feels good. And just let go of the tension in your shoulders. Go down into our arms. Down into our hands and our fingers. Feel free to just wiggle your hands or roll your wrists like this. And then just relax your arms and your hands and your fingers. Down into your chest. See if you can feel your heartbeat. Down into your belly. Just noticing it rise and fall. Just let it loose. Deep breaths. Down into your bottom, wherever your bottom is making contact, just notice that contact with your seat or the floor. Loosen and relax. Into the thighs. Feel free to flex your hamstrings or your quads and then let them relax. To your knees. Nice slow deep breaths. Feel free to make an audible exhale into your calves, shins, into your ankles and your feet, your toes. Feel free to wiggle your feet or your toes. Just loosen them up and relax. And then one more time, just scan through your body and see if you notice tension anywhere that you can let go of. And take some nice deep breaths. And on these breaths, I want you to hold your breath at the top if that feels good for you for a count of 3, and then very slowly let your breath go. So I'll show you and hold 2, 3, and then so take a few deep breaths with that 3-second pause at the top, and then slowly exhale. And just continue to do that. And I want you to reflect on these words. You are worthy of love and self compassion, no matter what's happened in your past, no matter what you've done today. You're worthy of self love and compassion. You don't need to do more, be more, achieve more, gain weight, lose weight, have a bigger house, a nicer car, nicer clothes, have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner. You don't have to be popular or have tons of friends, lots of money. You don't need to be teacher of the year. You don't need any awards or recognitions to be worthy of your own love right here as you are right now. Can you fully embrace and accept the person that you are right here in this moment without judgment? It doesn't mean that we won't set goals or try to achieve things in the future, but for right now in this moment, can you just accept who you are and say, yes, I'm worthy of love? I can forgive myself for things that I've done wrong. I can let go of guilt and shame and regret. I can also let go of worry, anxiety about the future, my angers, my frustrations for right now in this moment, and just simply be. Allow myself some time and space to just be without doing anything, without trying to impress anybody or solve any problems, just to be, just to exist, so that I can create a space to heal in. So that I can create a space to heal in. Nice deep breaths. And as we give ourselves love and self compassion, can we extend that to others? So I want you to think of somebody in your life that might need your love and compassion right now. It could be a partner, a friend, someone at school, a colleague, a student. Bring that person to mind and just see if you can feel that love and compassion for yourself, if you can extend it to this person. Just continue to breathe. And the reason why we are going to end with that is because being able to pay attention to the present moment non judgmentally is wonderful. But why are we doing that? If we can create a space to heal, to apply self compassion, we can also sow the seeds of compassion that we can extend to others. And this is how we create the world that we want to see. It starts inside us with growing the compassion that we need to give away to others. And that work starts internally. So take a few more deep breaths. And gently open your eyes. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. I want you to just notice how you feel right now. And whatever that is, that is not a wrong answer. So if you feel great and calm and chill and better, awesome. And if you don't, you feel worse, you feel more anxious or upset or sad, that's okay too. I would encourage everybody, you can use this video, or there's a ton of free apps like Calm and Insight Timer and other apps that some of them cost money, some of them don't. You go on YouTube and find a bunch of great um, meditation content. But I want to encourage you to start off with just making a commitment to 5 minutes a day if that feels right for you. And then if it does and you do it for a while, you can always add some more time to that. Just setting aside this time for you to practice and cultivate your practice over time. And I think you'll find, like I did, that it can be incredibly beneficial to your state of mind, to how you view yourself and how you operate in the world. And I think if we want to create peace in the world and we want to make the world a better place, we have to start here. We can't go around trying to fix, and problem solve and end every injustice if we're not starting within ourselves. So I want to encourage everybody who's a strong advocate to invest in that time for yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a few things I'd like to just remind everybody about. So we have, if you're interested in this topic, we have a wellness retreat. Yelena Popovich and I, about 10 years ago, created the first retreat for educators specifically in South Carolina. Our first one was in Newberry, at Newberry College, and we've been doing them every year. And Yelena is an expert in mindfulness practices. She and I are co-facilitating, co-creating this wellness retreat. We're going to have two of them this summer. One is June 25th through the 27th, and the other one's July 23rd through the 25th at a place called Indigo Nature Retreat in Old Fort, North Carolina. You can find more information at cool.us/retreat. And I'm going to put that website on the screen here so you can jot it down. It's cool.us/retreat. The retreat is this: it's 3 days and it's 2 nights, and we have about 12 educators that come. You stay in a really nice cabin on this creek in this beautiful setting. Um, and we do mindfulness practices like the one we just did. We do yoga, very, very gentle yoga, not some like you're not going to put your, foot behind your head kind of yoga. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's very, very gentle, calm, like yoga. We talk about self-care and we just have really great, rich conversations in a circle with each other about the experience. And it's a really beautiful and wonderful experience. And when you go to the website, you can see some of the testimonials of people who've been. This costs $150 for members of the SCEA. It is $250 for non-members. You must be a public school teacher or educator in South Carolina so that you can be a cafeteria worker, a bus driver, a classroom teacher, an administrator. Anybody who works in a public K-12 school can come. And again, $150 for members and $250 for non-members. So if you're even considering joining and you want to go to this retreat, now's the best time for you to join the SCEA, and you can do that at jointhescea.org. And then you only pay $150 for the retreat. We already have 25% of the spaces accounted for. So if you want to go on that retreat, I highly recommend that you fill out the application. The applications for both retreats are there. So pick the one that you want to go to, fill out the application, and within a week or two, we'll get back to you and let you know if you've been accepted into the retreat. At this point, we are prioritizing people who've never been to the retreat before. So if you are an alumnus of the retreat, you've been before, you can still apply. But right now, we're prioritizing people who haven't had that experience yet. And then if in a month or two, those spaces are still available, we will start accepting folks who've been before. I want to remind everybody everything that we do on these live streams, and everything we do with our Cool Induction Institute is also available on cool.us. If you're interested more talking about how school culture works and how we could integrate mindfulness into the school day, I created a documentary about that. It's called Rehumanizing School. You can watch all 4 episodes at cool.us/rehumanizing school. Focuses on 2 small schools in rural Southwest Virginia, in a small town, one stoplight called Floyd, Blue Mountain School, and Springhouse School. And they integrate mindfulness and those practices into their school day on a regular basis, and it's really a wonderful thing to see. A couple of other things that I want to promote that are related and coming up. Alex Del Castillo does yoga. So if the seated practice and focusing on your breath, that's not working for you, you're feeling a little bit too much energy and you want to get that out, check out the resources that Alex has on our Cool website. If you go to the wellness tab, you'll see Cool Yoga. Yeah, I think it's also cool.us/yoga. And he does that every Wednesday night live on Instagram. And I think it's on TikTok as well. So find the SCEA on those platforms and check out all the work that Alex is doing. We also have for induction teachers. So if you're in the first 5 years of your career, we have free online one-to-one support that we offer. It's called Cool Coaching. It was created by Dr. Marcella Weinsnyder, our teaching and learning specialist at Cool. She and Angie and Stephanie lead these sessions every Tuesday and Thursday night from 6 to 8 o'clock. It's free. Just go to cool.us/coaching. Recently, we've had an article published by Steve Newsom. We also believe in strong advocacy. If you want to read his latest thing, it's on his piece. It's on the website near the bottom of the homepage, and he wrote about this banned book called "Normal People," and that's a great article. And he's going to be writing. He's written a lot of articles about banned books, and Pete Stone continues to just create all these amazing videos. Those are also on our website. His latest one is "What Do Tests Measure?" He has one coming out about paying paraprofessionals more. So tune into Cool Vibes with Pete Stone. And then also coming up, speaking of induction, on February 12th, Angelica McDonald, an educator in the Florence area, and Dr. Marcella Weinsnyder and I will be hosting our new episode of Cool Beans, talking about educators using social media. That's February 12th from 6 to 6:30. Well, that's about it. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. I will do my best to monitor and answer those questions. I want to thank anybody who tuned in tonight. I appreciate you practicing with me tonight. I hope that this practice is good for you. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this. A very special person showed me this today, and it says, I react with peace and ease, no matter how stinky the cheese. And we have a lot of stinky cheese right now that we're having to deal with. And the back of the card says, life isn't about what happens to you. It's not about the beauty that happens, and it's not about the bullshit that happens. Life is about how you choose to react when it happens. No matter how stinky the cheese gets, you can either stay calm and use your energy to move towards your visions, or you can allow the cheese to consume your energy and stink up the rest of your life too. We suggest the former, as the latter can lead to lactose intolerance and extreme constipation. So, I think you all know this cheese is the same color as some of the stinkiest cheese that is out there right now. And I hope that despite the stinky cheese that's going on right now, that you could find your peace and your joy and not let people steal that from you, no matter how stinky it gets. I love you, care about you, and if there's anything that we can do for you, please reach out. We'll see you on our next live stream. We're going to actually have one on February 5th. We'll be announcing the details of that probably sometime next week. Until then, enjoy the snow, enjoy the cold, and I hope that you all benefit from the practice. And we'll reach out if you do have any questions or want to just let